Good morning, everyone. I've worked a lot of jobs in my life, from crab fishing in the Bering Sea to cleaning sewer lines in New York City. And let me tell you, there's one thing I've learned that holds true across every single profession. Your hands are your most valuable tools. Today, let's discuss an issue that's unfortunately quite common but entirely preventable: hand injuries. We're going to talk about why hand safety matters, what the risks are, and most importantly, how to protect yourselves and each other. So, what are we talking about when we say hand injuries? Well, it's a pretty broad category. We're talking about cuts, lacerations, punctures, burns, fractures, amputations. You name it, it can happen. And it happens in every line of work, from construction and manufacturing to healthcare and food service. The thing is, most of these injuries are preventable. That's why it's so important to be aware of the risks in your specific workplace and to take the necessary precautions. Think about it. You use your hands for everything: turning wrenches, operating machinery, handling chemicals, even just typing on a keyboard. All of these tasks come with their own set of potential hazards. That's why the first step to protecting yourself is simply being aware of what those hazards are. Take the time to learn about the specific risks associated with your job. Read the safety manuals, pay attention to warning signs, and ask questions if you're unsure about something. Now, awareness is great, but it's only half the battle. The other half is knowing how to do your job safely. That's where proper training comes in. I'm talking about comprehensive training that covers everything from the proper use of tools and equipment to safe lifting techniques and emergency procedures. Think of it like this: you wouldn't jump behind the wheel of a car without knowing how to drive, right? Well, the same principle applies to operating machinery or handling hazardous materials. You need to know what you're doing to stay safe. And don't assume that just because you've been doing something a certain way for years, that you're doing it right. Bad habits can creep up on anyone, and it's always a good idea to refresh your knowledge and make sure you're up to date on the latest safety protocols. All right, you're aware of the risks, you've had the proper training. Now it's time to gear up. Personal protective equipment, or PPE, is your best friend when it comes to hand safety. And when it comes to your hands, gloves are your first line of defense. But here's the thing: not all gloves are created equal. You've got your heavy-duty work gloves for handling rough materials, your cut-resistant gloves for working with sharp objects, your chemical-resistant gloves for handling hazardous substances. You get the idea. The key is to use the right glove for the job. Don't just grab any old pair of gloves and call it a day. Take the time to assess the hazards you'll be facing and choose the gloves that provide the appropriate level of protection. It's easy to get complacent on the job, especially when you're doing something you've done 1,000 times before. But here's the thing about complacency: it can kill you, or at least it can cost you a finger or two. When it comes to hand safety, staying focused and alert is just as important as any piece of equipment. Distractions happen, but it's up to you to minimize them. Put away your phone, tune out the chatter, and give the task at hand your undivided attention. Remember, your hands rely on your brain to keep them out of trouble. So stay sharp, stay focused, and don't let your mind wander when you're working with your hands. Now, let's talk tools. Whether you're a carpenter, a mechanic, or a surgeon, you rely on your tools to do your job. But even the best tools in the world can become dangerous if they're not properly maintained. Before you start any job, take a minute to inspect your tools. Look for any signs of wear and tear, damage, or defects. Are the blades sharp? Are the handles secure? Are there any loose parts? Using damaged tools is like driving a car with bald tires. You're just asking for trouble. So be proactive and take care of your tools, and they'll take care of you. Back injuries are a huge problem in the workplace. And you know what's often involved in those injuries? That's right, your hands. Think about it. When you lift something heavy, you're putting a lot of stress on your hands, wrists, and forearms. That's why it's so important to practice safe lifting techniques. Use your legs, not your back. Keep the load close to your body. And if something's too heavy, don't be afraid to ask for help. Remember, it's better to ask for help than to throw your back out. Or worse, drop something heavy on your hand. Nobody likes to talk about their mistakes. But in the world of workplace safety, near misses are golden opportunities to learn and improve. A near miss is simply an incident that could have resulted in an injury but didn't. A close call, if you will. Maybe you caught a falling tool just in time, or maybe you swerved to avoid a forklift that wasn't paying attention. Whatever the case may be, near misses are valuable learning experiences. They give you a chance to step back, analyze what happened, and figure out how to prevent it from happening again. So don't brush off those close calls. Report them to your supervisor, discuss them with your co-workers, and use them as an opportunity to make your workplace even safer. Working with your hands is honest and honorable work. It's what built this country and it's what keeps it running today. But it's also work that demands our respect. Remember, preventing hand injuries is everyone's responsibility. By following safety procedures, staying vigilant and looking out for each other, we can create a safer work environment for everyone. So let's all commit to making hand safety a top priority. Because at the end of the day, we all want to go home with all 10 fingers.